Sharita Birden here, and we have Mr. Jonathan Pride. He is the author of Caterpillars Don't Fly. And Jonathan, we're here in Fort Worth, Texas, and it is a beautiful morning. And we're here, and we're going to talk a little bit about who you are.
Yeah. Well, Sharita, I love the opportunity. Thank you for, sitting down and just learning more about what I'm trying to do. And so Jonathan Pride, John Pride, or JP are the three names I go by. I'm a New Yorker, born and raised. I did some time in the military as a military intelligence officer, and I separated from the Army kind of at a pretty big transitional point, which my book goes over. Um, but I'm on this lifelong quest to help caterpillars break out of their cocoons and become the butterflies that I believe God designed them to become. So I am currently a vice president in my day job for a national nonprofit, and we support marginalized communities that include young adults, 18 to 26, and veterans and their spouses by introducing them to a career in technology. But as a passion play, I founded an organization that is called the Caterpillar Leadership Institute, and it is based on my book and helping young professionals unlock their inner potential and grow into, again, the butterflies that they were destined to become.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, when you think about the metaphor of the caterpillar turning into the butterfly, how can you relate the metaphor to the different phases in life explained in the book?
Yeah, great question. So, I believe that there are so many caterpillars in our lives. And I'm not a scientist, so all my scientist listeners don't quote me on this. But when a caterpillar is born, it immediately starts eating, right? And that eating is, I guess, an analogy to me of just seeking, right? Seeking instant gratification. And when a caterpillar enters the chrysalis, which is the cocoon phase, they enter it at a point where they've determined anatomically how big they are going to be, right? So like they know innately that they are designed to be a certain height or length or whatever. And then when they get to the chrysalis, they surrender in the cocoon where they hang upside down, which is interesting to me, right? As I talk about this analogy, and I will answer your question, I promise. But hanging upside down is a sign of absolute surrender. There's zero way to defend yourself, zero way to alter, zero way to change the way you're designed in that cocoon. You are upside down surrendering to your inner process. And then what happens in that chrysalis, in that cocoon, is that this caterpillar transform into the butterfly. But this is the part that a lot of people don't realize. The same caterpillar that went into the chrysalis is the same caterpillar slash butterfly that emerges, with the only exception of these wings that are within the caterpillar's anatomical state comes out and it grows. And so to answer your question now, right? Again, scientists don't quote me on that. But to answer your question, I feel like we are all seeking. We are all looking. We are all trying to crawl to get what we think is ours. Mm-hmm. And when we surrender to the process, surrender to ourselves, surrender to wanting to be liked, surrender to wanting to be famous, surrender to having $1 billion and being an influencer. When you surrender to all these outside expectations and you accept that buried within you are wings, mm-hmm. where you can go out and fly and capture everything, it just changes the way you're designed. And so my book highlights 7 core principles in my life where I've had to surrender as a caterpillar to become the butterfly that I believe God is calling me to be. And I think the best part of being a butterfly in at least one phase of life is that it never stops. There's always new heights. There's
Yes.
always other caterpillars. There's always other butterflies. And so when you accept that we were called for greatness and that we were led to be more than our current state, we can accept that God is leading us to migrate with other butterflies to a better place. And so that is what my book is about, and that is what really my mission is with the Caterpillar Leadership Institute.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. As I read through the different chapters in the
Mm-hmm.
book, I could see myself. And if anyone that knows me, I wear butterfly jewelry.
That's
I have
right.
my butterfly shirt on
That's
today.
right.
So it's very relatable to other people. And I know reading through, I saw where when you were a child and getting baptized and
Yes.
the different metaphors there, and then growing later in the military, and then using some of those principles that you've learned in the military, and then transferring out of the military into civilian life, and those things that you learned that you used in your civilian jobs and things like that. So I could see the different processes throughout your life that you gained and took into the next phase of your life. So that's awesome. And to even bring it into your nonprofit. So awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting, Sharita, is um, I think that the the I think things are more attainable in life than people realize, right? And it's interesting to me because I've always had this idea as a kid that what do you want to be when you grow up, right? And we are kind of programmed at a young age, with the best intentions, by the way, right? Our parents do the best they can. The communities, the pillars in our community, they all try to get us programmed in a way where we can do all the right things. And one of the things I've learned in my journey, and especially in my book, as I highlight, is this idea that there is no program. The program is we are born to be great. God has ordained every person he's ever created with the ability to move people towards him. Some of us are singers, some of us are writers, some of us are entrepreneurs, some of us are leaders, some of us are business professionals, some of us are lawyers, some of us are accountants. Like, we all have these skills, and we don't have to follow the program, right? And when people believe that they are on a track, then I feel like they surrender. Not in the way that the caterpillar to the butterfly surrenders. They surrender to their potential. They surrender saying, this is the path I have, this is my walk, this is my journey, and this is what I am. No. Every time I meet folks at different conferences, and I speak a lot, obviously, and I do a lot of both personal and professional engagements with different conferences and councils and leadership groups, I always introduce myself without labels because I am multiple butterflies. I'm not just a butterfly in business. I'm not just a butterfly in my faith, right? And I take my faith very seriously, and I take my commission that Jesus gave me, right? When he commissioned everyone and said, "Go make disciples," like, I take that very seriously. But that's one butterfly in my life, right? I know that there are other butterflies that I have to transform into, and so people need to understand that things are attainable. The life they want is there for their taking. They've got to have the courage to go into that cocoon and trust that they're prepared and that God has them covered within that chrysalis so that when they emerge, they're ready to fly.
Yes, I totally agree with everything you just said there. Um, so, could you tell us a little bit about any aspirations that you see from the nonprofit? You said you help what ages again?
Yeah, so Empower is the name of the organization.
Okay.
They are, again, a national nonprofit. So we, right, because that's still part of my day job, we help support young adults 18 and 26. And they are from underserved, underrepresented communities. They are folks who have all of the potential, going back to
Mm-hmm.
the butterfly. They just lack access to opportunity.
Okay.
Maybe it's college, maybe it's mentorship, maybe it's guidance. And so we help them transform into technologists.
Okay.
So our program is holistic. And so we support not just the student, but we have social support teams that provide wraparound service support to help lower the barriers
Okay.
and increase the ceiling, raise the ceiling so that they have a greater opportunities at Success Plus program. And then we help them launch digital careers. So we have all types of programs from entry level IT to cybersecurity and cloud computing, software development. All of these programs are included for free for all of our students um, to venture into the technology field. And we also do the same programs for veterans, which is an inclusive term to include transition service members, reservists, National Guardsmen and women, and then their spouses, right? And again, it's all completely free. There's no debt, there's no income share.
Nice.
The expectation is our programs lead to job placement in technology.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's an amazing program. I've been at Empower for 4 years, and I currently sit and serve as the vice president for our regional offices that are new and emerging. So I manage teams in Ohio, North Carolina, Maryland, Michigan, and Ohio.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Awesome. So I don't want to hold you too long, but I wanted to make sure that everyone go out, and if you're inspired by anything that John has said today, caterpillars don't fly. Can you let them know where they can get
Yeah,
this book?
yeah. So the book is available anywhere books are sold. Sharita, I appreciate the plug. Um, I'm here to move mountains, right? It's funny. I I have the book listed at Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. There's a lot of Christian bookstores it's in, and then our publisher, Westbow Press, is the publisher that took a chance on me. And so if you're going to buy it anywhere, buy it from Westboro Press, and links will be made available. Um, I was going to say it's funny because I published the book on April 20th, 2020. So it's been 5 years since the book has been published. And immediately following, almost a month to the day after the book hit the street, the book hit the press, I was let go from my job, right? It was kind of a really long story. So the last chapter, the last paragraph in my book is actually foreshadowing where I am today. Wow. And that just shows the power of God. And so I say it's funny, but it's just funny that God knew where I was going when I hit send on this submission, the manuscript, because the end of that book is the beginning of the chapter I'm in now. And so I love just looking back on things and seeing that God's got in control still.
Yes, God is definitely in control. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah,
for
for
sitting
sure.
down with me, and we look forward to maybe a part two.
Yeah, part two. I'm living it. So stand by. So it's coming.
All right, it was awesome speaking with you.
Thank you very much.
For sitting down with me.
Yeah.
It's your time.